My name is Yasushi Hamao. I am Japanese, partly grew up in Germany for years. Then went back to Hiroshima, where I had never been to. I could not speak Hiroshima accent, so high school students are vicious. Uh, and I insisted on speaking on standard Japanese. Um, my English teacher at that time was Irish, so I picked up some Irish accent. And, but anyhow, I speak therefore German, English in various accents, Irish, British, and maybe I can say I have a dual, New York accent. Uh, Anyhow, I read 100% Chinese. I cannot speak Chinese. I cannot speak French, but I can understand the French, 100% French spoken. Anyhow, that's not the point. Okay, the point, the paper is, I was on the faculty here from 19, oh gosh, when was that? Long time ago. 80s, 91 to 98, I was here. Same building, pretty bad that time, fantastically renovated, and some great people. So very glad to be back here. Anyhow, I'm affiliated at Yale University now, but I'm going around. I'm on leave this year, so I'm quite a bit of traveling. All right. Now the is about the Nihon Keizai Shimbun. Some of you may be able to read this character. Nihon Keizai Shimbun is the largest newspaper covering economy and business. Okay, and its circulation is number 4 after the general national papers. National papers meaning like Asahi newspaper and Yomiuri newspaper. And those are the popular newspapers. And after that, this is number 4, and with 3 million circulation. Specializing in Japanese economy and business. And it is a must for business people to read. If you are working in a company and you're not following what the newspaper said, you will feel ashamed of yourself because you're not following. Now, in terms of circulation, FT has 0.65 million. Wall Street Journal, you would have thought it's big, but it's only 2.3 million. And Nikkei is bigger than combined numbers. Now, Nikkei Inc. also is the largest data vendor for economic research. Economic research meaning for academias, historical data is very important. We have to get those. There are some academic discount, but it's not too cheap. For institutional investors, they are trying to get the data as they go along. Those databases are so expensive. Okay, it is a tremendously expensive database, but they are the monopoly. They can't get anywhere else. Now, Martin Fackler, who is the New York Times head of New York Times bureau in Japan, wrote a book in Japanese, small book. This was mostly about the earthquake disaster in 2011 and the tsunami following that, nuclear disaster. So he was basically saying the Japanese journalism are not independent. They are following what other people say to them and repeat it. They do not do independent research. Only press people who would go up there to the north, dangerous area, to find out what's going on were foreign press. Japanese press people were sitting in Tokyo comfortably getting information from ministry and Tokyo Electric Company and just repeating it. Now, another section of this book has a remarkable the section, the last point I point out. Nikkei reporters have cozy relationship with the company executives. Private information is casually spoken in private meetings. Okay, he went to a meeting with a large listed company where chairman was presiding, and Nikkei, there was a guy who was behaving like an insider, just running around and serving tea and sitting right next to the chairman, and everybody sat down. The chairman says, "Mr. X," pointing out to the guy, "as I said to you 2 days ago, our numbers are much better than what we were expecting." And this was total news for other press. Okay, as I told you to Nikkei reporter, our numbers are going to be better than what was reported. Other people didn't know. Nikkei was the only one who knew. Now, this sort of disclosure is called, in the United States, against fair disclosure. Okay, when companies disclose any substantial information, it has to disclose at once to everybody. Okay, no exception. You cannot whisper to certain analysts, certain investors, a number is going to be actually better. Can't do that. Okay, after 2000, it became illegal. It's called Regulation Fair Disclosure, Reg FD. Okay. In Japan, Reg FD is not a law yet. So this thing, some company's chairman, as you know, kind of thing, was not illegal as is. That is not illegal yet. My stance is that it has to be made illegal, but it's not illegal yet. But the law is not there yet. Now, what happened then? Our numbers are better than what was expected. Was the private information conveyed to certain investors, certain analysts? Good numbers, right? So, what would happen to the stock price? Would it go up on the day that became available? Or would it go up one day after people find out and then suddenly people are rushing into the market? Or would it go up one day before? In that case, Nikkei leaked to certain investors, selectively leaked. And those selectively leaked insider traders traded on it. And that is exactly what we find. That is insider trading. It is illegal. Okay, unfair disclosure or selective disclosure is not illegal in Japan. But trading on that information day before that was published and getting profit, that is illegal. And I will show you that that's happening. Well, but the Nikkei reports all these tables when they have earning seasons. They've got, this is after company makes announcement. Canon closes its book in January 30th. The most recent closing in this time is 2013 December. their sales, current income, net income, earnings per share, dividends per share is reported. Interestingly, in this table, all companies report what it was a year ago. And also, all companies report what they think it is going to be. This is management forecast for the coming year. Okay, arguably these are rounded numbers, but looking at this, sales last year was this year is bigger than that. Next year they're saying even better than that. You can get sense of it. What the company is saying. The same thing, or so forth. But this is U.S. standard. It says, and if you read Chinese, this China character is different from Chinese. In China, Chinese use beautiful country, and in Japan we don't care about that, so it's a rice country. Okay, so that's what's going on in the table. This table is going to be published right after a company announces. So you can imagine at the time of the earnings announcement season, you have tons of those. Okay, this is published day after announcement. So there's nothing wrong about it. Okay. Now, the management forecast can be, this is next year, but every 6 months they can devise management forecast, up and downward. And it is possible the management can step out and say, no, we need to do extra management forecast change. Like Sony's smartphone sales, it wasn't selling too well, so they had to step out and say, hey, we screwed up. So all of this, management forecast change, everything is going to be tabulated. So it's many tables in Nikkei newspaper. And when we are doing it, we were interested in those numbers explained in tables versus numbers explained in articles. Not all articles write up. Not all companies are written up in articles. So suppose some companies were doing very badly and no text articles was explaining it, then would that be dumped? So suppose some company really didn't do well, but the newspaper articles explains this was because unexpected slowdown in China and things like that. Then it might be, may not get a bad thing. So that's what we were trying to see. We also have an algorithm to classify articles into positive, negative, and neutral sentiment, non-number related articles. They're talking about investments, new product introduction, new opening of a store, things like that. No numbers, and we want to classify those as having positive sentiment, negative sentiment, and neutral sentiment. In order to do so, we have to get some undergrads to read all this first 2,000 or so articles and let the machine learn about it. So it's a language independent. You can do it in Chinese, you can do it in English, you can do it in Korean, you can do it in Swahili, whatever. So we were doing that, and it turned out the Japanese articles were like at 5% positive, 5% negative. Vast majority is neutral, meaning newspapers don't say anything about anything. U.S. news wire is more decisive, 30% positive, 30% negative. Now, in the process of doing this, we actually saw run-ups in Good News before announcement. So the paper number 1 is not written yet, but paper number 2 is the one we rushed into, and we are presenting it. Now, these are the articles written 2 years ago in summer in FT and Bloomberg. I will let you read it, but because this is videotaped, I'm going to skip. I'm not going to allow you to read from the beginning to the end for now, in the interest of time. But what it is saying is basically Nikkei previews, okay? Nikkei newspaper previews earnings announcements before announcement, company announcement, okay? Company announces. Before that, Nikkei newspaper writes about it. Not all of them. Some of them Nikkei writes about it. And it's very precise. Much better than analyst forecast. If you want to know what's going on in NTT Docomo, don't bother with analysts. Just read Nikkei newspaper. And that's what they're saying. Okay. And by the way, these guys also asked, how can you be so accurate to Nikkei? And then Nikkei said, we have our own analysts. And they also asked the companies, how could they be so accurate? And the company said, Nikkei were the ones who are interviewing us very often. There are two things going on, okay? If you are a financial analyst from brokerage house, there's a blackout period for 3 hours, 3 weeks before the announcement. You cannot approach financial executives. Okay, you cannot. If you are a brokerage house analyst, you cannot approach company executives to get superior information. Nikkei can do it, citing freedom of press. I think that's bullshit, but truly, those Nikkei writers are camping in front of executives day and night, trying to get information as much as possible. And also, okay, we have our own analysts, right? If Nikkei analysts are so accurate and can write much better analyst report than Morgan Stanley, why are they staying in Nikkei? Right? Pay-wise, they would be paid 10 times more than that to be an analyst. Anyhow, so the question, if you don't have FD, well, there's various questions you could ask. Are they accurate? Are they biased? Are they, who are they? And so forth. Let me, in the interest of time, I'll just go quick. Okay. It is very precise. We had to collect over 1 million articles. We had to narrow down to the preview articles. Somebody had to read it. The expressions are not cookie cut. We narrowed down to 2,835 articles over 11 years, from 2000 to 2010. And here is how it appears. This 0 day is the day of the company announcement. Company makes an announcement in the afternoon of this day. Our result of the last quarter was like that. In the afternoon of that. But by the morning of that, announcement is like earliest noon. Okay, this article was written at 2 a.m. It's out already. So you can read it. 2 days before, 3 days before, you can see 0 to minus 7 has a pretty big mass. Now, my suspicion is this. Nikkei gets all this information from the companies by camping in front of executives, and they decide on the date of publication. Typically, it's going to be on Monday. So that's why you have this wavy thing. And by Thursday, they inform certain friendly investors that they are going to publish good news on Monday so that they can trade on Friday. They don't want to do it on Wednesday or Thursday. They want to do it on one day, one shot. And they get, well, the price is going to go up. The next day, on the day of publication, what happens? Now, you and I read the paper, and it says it's surpassing past results. Oh, I got to get to the market and buy it, right? But these guys who got the information before are selling it against you. So that's exactly what's going on here. Next picture, here. I'm skipping it, but on the day, 0 day is the publication date. And Nikkei publishes article saying Canon's number appears to have surpassed. Announcement occurs 1 or 2 days later. But the preview is published on 0 day. Now 0 minus 1, even before it was published, certain investor got that information and bought it. And the price went up by 1.2%, 1% in this case. And on the day of publication, you and I read the article and okay, it's good, so we should buy. This is a cumulative, so anything going down is negative. And that goes down, 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 down. Somebody made a 1% gain on privileged information. This is insider trading. It is insider trading. And there is law against it in Japan. Okay. I'm gonna go back a little bit. Good bias on bad bias. Just briefly. Management forecast is here, and the actual numbers here, and the preview articles is reporting somewhere in between. Okay, this is management forecast was under forecasting, and actually the number is going to be higher. In this case, do they report more? Yeah, it's 62%. Management forecast is higher, but the actual number is lower. In that case, how much do they report? It's 38%. So there's some bias. And the good news is more likely to be reported. Now let's go on because I'm taking too much time on all this. Now next picture is this. This is looking at the -7 to 0 only, narrowing down to the most recent leakage. The magnitude is even bigger. 1.25%. Somebody who gets good information just buys it before, okay, not on the day, before the publication of the newspaper, then you get it. Now, another thing you see is after that, it starts to go down, go down, go down. So even if you don't have the privileged information whispered from Nikkei, on the day you see the preview article in Japanese, you just showed it. Just showed it. Here. Those are large shortable stocks. You showed it. Terry Marsh, who is working as an investment analyst advisor out in San Francisco, is just about to implement this. He needs to read Japanese. That's a drag. So now the next question is, what's in it? Why are they doing it? Why are they doing it? I gotta be pretty quick in here. Okay, by now we know that the investors get 2%, 1.1% or more, gets away with it. And if you repeat it every year, every time, you are going to be a pretty rich investor. And what's in it for the issuing company then? Why are they repeatedly doing it? Now, what we find is that after the preview is published, the bid-ask spread, the asymmetric component, symmetric information component, disappears, narrows. So in other words, the investors are not sure about this company, and once preview is published, oh, okay, that's what's going on. So they will buy. Probability of informed trades, same thing. And also one more interesting thing we found is that those companies who are previewed very often, those are the companies that have one-page one-page article of something so good about the company. Like Canon is now automating the entire process of single lens reflex production process, which is not number related, right? The single lens reflex and mirrorless, it says so too. And that article shows up on the top part of the article in a big font. Well, in our database, we don't have the font size. Well, we don't have where it showed up. But I basically, by inspection, I looked at those articles. And sure enough, those repeatedly previewed companies are getting quite positive non-earnings related articles published all the time, which serves as free advertisement. You see, you don't have to buy full-page advertisement to pay to Nikkei. But Nikkei is going to write it up for you. And that will be great. And then, therefore, I will be leaking information to you. And some investors are going to make some money. And we don't make money. We are not illegally doing it. Things go on and on. Now, Financial Services Agency, FSA, is a governing entity. And I am talking to them. They have the statute of limitation for 5 years. And my data is in this paper. My data ends 2010. Too late. Okay, too stale. But I did get information from Nikkei up to 2015, end of June of 2015. Text data, stock data, everything. Okay. Only thing I don't have is the surveillance data, who actually traded and who sold it. And that is at the Financial Services Agency and the Securities Exchange Commission, Securities Exchange Surveillance Committee, basically SEC. And they have that information, and I told them I'm going to give them event date. So they are going to get into it. And going forward, I think there will be some arrests made. And I probably don't want to be in Tokyo so much. I need a bodyguard. Otherwise, somebody with a missing, pinky would show up in my apartment. So that is the story. I think the thing is this: the market is big. Okay, we know the market is a very big market, the second largest equity market, and a lot of foreign investors are saying we are not interested in Japanese market because this is what's going on. Somebody is making a crooked profit. We don't have that kind of information, and that is true. I mean, Morgan Stanley guy told me that. Now, market reform is very difficult to do when the market is down. Japanese market has bounced up quite a bit compared to the bottom. So this is about the time to do something, which means market could be even higher than this. So that's a takeaway. Thank you.